You've hit Beltline Construction, brought to you by Calvin College Media Production. Here's your host, Grand Rapids personal trainer, Mighty Joe.
Welcome back to Beltline Construction. I am Mighty Joe Stankowski. This is episode number 17, the final one in our series. When I was preparing for today's episode, I was told by the crew that they want to try something a little bit different because we've covered a lot of principles, a lot of different concepts throughout the series of Beltline Construction. And rather than demonstrate more exercise, more principles, we have some questions that we're going to really try to answer. So you might even see this as a prequel sort of episode, and if you haven't caught up with all the rest, this might be a great one to start with, then go back to the very beginning. But we're going to do today, we're going to have Stephanie, one of our supermodels. You've seen her all along. She's going to come out. She has a series of questions that have been written. We're going to see what we can learn, and Stephanie, come on out, and we'll see what we've got for us today. And hopefully you get to learn something else and put it all together before we're done. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm all right.
Good.
What do you got for me?
All right, got a few questions for you.
All right.
The first one is, how do I put all this information together into a training plan?
I'm guessing that all this information has to do with what we've talked about in Beltline Construction.
Yeah.
We have been very principle driven. We've talked about exercise. We've talked about movement patterns and planes of motion, but we really haven't done what traditional fitness TV shows do, where they just take you through a rah-rah sort of cheerleading sort of exercise plan.
Yeah.
Really what you have to do, you start experimenting on your own. If you don't have the answers already, if you don't understand program design, you start by doing something. This is how we establish the habit. And we talked very early on about what I call level ones. People who do not have the fitness habit, you start by doing something. You can develop your own systems. I like to be a bit more progressive and predictable and say, okay, here's certain ways to do it. But because everybody has different goals, it's really hard to say, here's one way to work out. But start by doing something and you can go from there. You know, get books, find a trainer, find professionals somewhere near you, people that have done this kind of stuff, and see where it goes from there. Is the easiest way to get started, really.
Okay, cool. All right, my next question for you is, what's the quickest way to lose the jiggle from my belly?
Jiggle, belly. It's basically a spot reduction question, it sounds like. And I've heard this question countless times, how to lose my love handles, my flabby arms, my inner thighs, whatever. And really it comes down to, I like to use analogies, as we've all already probably learned, I'm sure. If you want to drive through Kansas with a full tank of gas, what's the quickest way to empty it out? You don't put the cruise control on 55 miles an hour and just sit there. You want to do the jackrabbit starts and stops. You want to tow a trailer. You want to have a flat tire. You're going to watch your fuel tank go down quickly. And much like the car, we can't step on the gas and pick which gallon of fuel comes out of the tank first and it gets burned. We can't do that physiologically either. We just have to burn energy. We have to do jackrabbit starts and stops. We have to drag a spare tire around behind us in a trailer and things like that. So physiologically, we need to do that. Weight training, using the principles that we've done here, using resistance exercise, using the kind of conditioning ideas that we've really talked about, that is the best way to lose body fat, period. And you might not lose your belly first, your arms first, but if you're losing fuel, you're losing fuel. And sooner or later, the tank will go empty.
All right, that makes sense. All right, next question.
No.
My body hurts from years of sports training. How can I get back into training without making it worse?
Oh, that one kind of hits close to home too, because I've had a competitive powerlifting career for a while, and I played football, and I've done strongman, and I've hurt too. And the best way really is to get an appropriate assessment, to have somebody assess you that could see how you're moving, see what limitations you may have. I cannot assess myself very objectively because I'm me. I know how I feel and I know what I see, so I go to other experts as well. And I say, assess me, help me develop my own plan based on what you see. So if you hurt, find a professional that can actually assess you wherever you are. Just look online for personal trainers anywhere. Check the big magazines that are out there and find those experts, and chances are there's one somewhere near you. And just ask around, find an expert that can help you assess, because if you're not assessing, your whole program is just it's random, and random efforts produce random results.
All right, cool. All right, next question. My friends have been using other popular workout DVDs. Why should I approach yours instead?
I can only imagine which DVDs there are. And there's lots of good books and programs and things that are out there. And this, again, we've been talking about a different approach. We're talking about movement patterns. We're not talking about muscle groups. We're not talking about cardio, which I was putting finger quotes. Of course, we're talking about energy systems. If you have something that works, if anybody has a program that works, and you find it works for you, and you found it works for people like you, do it. I'm a pragmatist. If something's good for you, by all means, do it. But if it stops working, you need to have a different approach. All I'm doing is offering a thought process, a different way of approaching movement from the traditional, here's arm day, here's back day, here's chest day. Anything that works, works. If you lose 400 pounds doing some wacky fad diet, I can't say you didn't. There's ways I would have liked to have done it possibly differently, but working is working and effective is effective, and I'm good with that. So.
Well,
so do what you want.
Yeah, and because you're Mighty Joe.
Mighty Joe, there we go, that's right.
Which is another question.
Okay.
Why exactly are you called Mighty Joe?
Okay, this goes back a few years. used to live in the East Coast, and I would give a lot of presentations to different groups, and there was one specific cancer group I was working with.
Yeah.
And after this presentation, and one of the women that was head of the group, she comes to me and says, you're really mighty. You're Mighty Joe. And I'm assuming she meant because I had some sort of energy and enthusiasm for the subject of fitness, not because I look like Mighty Joe Young, the gorilla. But then again, you never know. I've been known to kind of run around gorilla-like in the gym and lifting weights, and I guess I have the gorilla sort of appeal too. And I like to think it's because of the energy and enthusiasm I have for this, and kind of the interest I have in teaching other people everything about eat right and exercise that I can as well. But
not just a big macho.
Not just the muscle head, which is my background, but no, hopefully it's an enthusiasm thing.
Got it.
So mighty. There we go.
Oh, I like it. All right, so what is your opinion on suspension trainers?
Opinion. Opinions on anything. How they say something, everybody's got opinions and something along those lines.
Yeah.
I'd say, like, if you go into a mechanic, if you go into a garage and you ask a mechanic, hey, what do you think about a wrench? You have to have that other part of the question that says a wrench to do something. What do you want that wrench to do? And I think suspension trainers like the TRX and the Jungle Gym, and even like just regular gymnastics rings, a lot of places are starting to use now. I think they're a tool, just like a wrench is a tool, just like a screwdriver is a tool, and just like a saw is a tool. Depends what you want the outcome to be. Like if you're going to try to pound a nail with a wrench, you might get the nail in a few times, but you're going to lose the effectiveness of what the wrench is supposed to be able to do on its own. So it's a tool. You can use any tool. I mean, we use kettlebells and foam rolls and stability balls and benches and all kinds of things. They're all just tools in your toolbox. The better you know how to use tools, the more you're able to create. But really with fitness, you don't need a lot of different things. You just need a few basic tools and really master those before you start complicating your toolbox. So coming back to your earlier question, why use what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Hopefully if you have these tools in your toolbox, because it will be easy to do. It'll be very much second nature for you. But if we confuse the heck out of you here on Beltline Construction, which I hope we didn't, we're just talking basic movement patterns, planes of motion, and just move. It should be pretty easy, but I think it's a tool. Long story short, I think that suspension trainers are tools.
All right, cool. All right, I got another question for
Okay.
you. What is a good goal for someone who is just getting started?
A good goal. That's a great question. 'Cause I actually met with a guy the other day where he has no specific goals, and he says he just wants to be in optimum shape. And I gave him the example of a sumo wrestler, a world champion sumo wrestler who is in optimum shape for sumo wrestling. I gave him the example of Lance
big guy.
Armstrong at the other end, who's in optimum shape for riding up and down mountains in France. Which optimum does he want? There's a lot of optimums in between. You could look at optimum on a football team. There's different positions have different sorts of goals. So your own goal has to be really specific to what you want to do. If you want to look a certain way, if you want to perform a certain way, if you're trying to improve something, you need to have a way to measure it, to quantify it, and to test your program and see if it's doing what you think it's going to do.
So basically, whatever you're reaching for, you have to do a different thing to train towards.
Yeah, I mean, no matter what your goals are, we still have the same 5 movement patterns: push, pull, twist, bend, and level change. We still have the same 3 planes of motion because we're not on a piece of paper or cardboard, or a computer screen.
Right.
We can actually move in all ways. So it's how do we apply the basic principles? How do we tweak the variables to make it work? And it all starts with you determining what do you want to get out of this. You have a set of tools to work with. What do you want out of it? Set a goal first, and then start measuring and see if you're moving the right direction.
Okay, well, I have my own question for you.
Okay.
I really enjoy doing ab workouts. and working
We've
on
noticed,
core.
yeah, we've learned that. Yeah.
Do you have any other suggestions that I could do?
Core, I think we've covered a lot as far as deadlifting and pressing and different things that challenge your body to stabilize itself and keep a neutral spine.
Yeah.
And that's where the biggest challenge right there. But because we still have about a minute or so left to cover right here, we're going to try to pull in a foam roll, which we've used before to work on some kinks in the muscles. We've talked about reactive training before, where we use stability balls and I kind of try to slap you around and make you not fall. But if I could have you just lie face up on this,
All right.
and we're going to do it's a foam roll. These things are pretty inexpensive. Find them at most sporting goods stores. We just lie in this thing, and from here, everybody wants to sit down and do crunches or lie down and do crunches. Crunches are bad. If I catch anybody watching the show doing crunches, I'm going to take you out. I know where you live. So from here, we just want to stabilize. Bring your feet in narrow, and as narrow as you can. And if you can pick one foot up, I just want to see if you do that, and you can keep your arms in front of you here. That's good. And we got balances right. I don't have to do anything. So this is a simple way. We're going to have to wrap up. We're going to miss you guys. It's been a great run for Beltline Construction. I'm going to try to push you off balance, see if I can. Had a lot of fun. The cast and crew and everybody made this show possible has been great, especially you guys for watching. Take what you've learned, put it to work. Let me know how it goes. You can check me out on GrandRapidsPersonalTrainer.com. There's going to be a lot more information to come. Till I catch you again, train like you mean it.
All right.
So here we go. Let's just see if we keep going. I'm going to try to knock you over.